When I was first diagnosed, I knew nothing, not even like the basic how to measure my glucose levels. And I kind of had to learn that all on my own because once you're diagnosed, your doctor, at least mine, just kind of told you, here are your results, good luck. And so I did a lot of research. I actually was lucky enough to find an informational class that taught me the step-by-steps. Now, for those of you living with type 1 or who have been living with type 2 for a really long time, this must seem silly to you. But I remember a time where like the thought of pricking my finger on a daily basis was terrifying because I used to be terrified of needles. Every time I would go to the doctor or the hospital, like I think I even passed out a couple of times just because of the needle. Now I just am so used to taking my or testing my blood that it's just common sense. But again, if you're new to it and you don't really know, this is just how I do it. You know, I'm not a medical professional. This is just the way I've been taught. This is just what works for me. Everyone's gonna have a little bit different based on their circumstances. So just talk to your doctor and make sure you're doing it correctly. So I actually still use the basic like glucose monitoring kit that I purchased or that I got when I was first diagnosed. It's just a basic little kit like this. And when you open it up, this is where the monitor kind of hangs out. And this is a little pocket where I keep my lancets and like alcohol wipes for testing on the go. I tend to test twice a day before and after a meal for a 2-hour period. So that's how I do it now. I've been lucky enough where I haven't had to do it more or multiple times a day. And that's just my process. And I use the One Touch VarioFlex. So this is what the little package looks like. When you open it, it comes like this, right? So when you open it, this is what I got in my little package or kit. So it comes with the glucose monitor, the lancet, or not the lancet, the thing that uses the lancet. I'm blanking, but I'm sure you know what it's called. And then it comes with little test strips. Now the test strips are what I have to buy each month. Unfortunately, my insurance doesn't cover a lot of test strips per month, so I'm constantly having to buy them. I buy them in I believe increments of 50. They don't really last very long, especially if you have to test multiple times a day. And this all comes in a little holder here where you can take off if you don't want to use it, but I just keep everything simple. So, okay, let's just test. So if you are testing for the first time, you're going to want to get a lancet and you're going to want to put it right here. And the needle is very fine. Let's see if I'll zoom in and out. Like it's a super tiny fine needle, which that was one of the first things that I was very surprised about. I didn't think it was going to be that small. And I was being terrified of needles. I was very happy to see it was that tiny and thin. This, you just pull the trigger back here and you can adjust this is a little weird that has different numbers, and I believe that is the depth that you want it to go. So I usually I started off with number 1, but now that my fingertips have kind of become like hard and a little bit harder to go through because of all the testing and the roughness of my hands, I'm usually on level 2. And I tend to test on my left hand because I'm right-handed and it works better for me. I can control it better. So we're going to do it like I'm out somewhere and I can't wash my hands with soap because washing your hands with soap is always the preferred method. So I'm going to take an alcohol pad, a little wipe, and I'm going to wipe my whatever finger I'm going to use. I tend to do 2 fingers at a time, wipe them off and sanitize them, because sometimes, especially if my hand is cold, like I won't get enough of a sample from one finger. So these two fingers are the one that work best for me. And even this finger I've been testing on pretty much all day. It has like, you can see the little red test sites. So I'm going to try and do my middle finger today. So we're going to wipe that off. And then I'm going to get a test strip. This is what the current test strip I'm using. This is what it looks like. And this end right here goes into the reader, and this end right here is what sucks the little blood sample in. So we're going to put it in there, and you can see it's going to start turning on. And when you see that little blood drop is when I know that I can go ahead and give it a sample. Now, if you keep it in here, it will eventually turn off if you don't use it or use that strip. But I can just take it out and put it back in if I haven't used it, and it'll still be good. It will reactivate it. But this is normal range. This is high range, and this is low range. I am always in the high range. Sometimes I'll be in the normal if I'm lucky, but I always tend to fall in the high range, which sucks. And I am in the process of kind of reevaluating my diabetes plans with my doctor to see how we can get it better. Then, mind just went fuzzy mind. But yeah, so once we put it in, once we disinfect, I kind of do this with my fingers just to get the blood flowing. I don't think it's scientific, but it kind of helps me. Maybe it doesn't, but I think it does, so I'm going to keep on doing it. So I will insert the test strip like we showed. I'm going to pull the trigger back, and then I'm going to set it at 2. And then I'm going to squeeze some sample out. And then I'm going to put it here. Now, if you're squeamish of blood, don't look. Probably should have said that before. And surprise, surprise, it is 2 hours after I've eaten, and I'm high, which makes sense because my face feels really hot, even though it's room temperature in here. So it makes sense that I'm high. Like, there are some symptoms that I have that I can tell when I'm high. So I'm probably going to go walk the dogs again. And I'll probably do a little bit more exercise and drink plenty of water. I am on metformin extended release, and I take it twice a day. I try and take it once in the morning when I wake up, and then once in the evening, usually right after dinner. But it doesn't seem to be working how I want it to. So like I said, I'm going to talk to my physician and see if we can come up with a new game plan. But that's pretty much it. And then I always keep one of these where my test strips came from. I keep them empty, and then I just take the needle and dispose of it in there because I don't want to just throw the needles in the trash can. I don't want like an animal to get into it and get hurt. I don't want anyone to get into it and get hurt. So I always try and keep it in a container, and then once I'm done or this is full, I'll kind of tape it off with duct tape or something so it doesn't open on its own. But that is pretty much my process of how I test my blood sugar levels. So if you do it a little bit differently, or you use maybe a different type of machinery or equipment, let me know in the comments below. I would love to find new and better ways to test my glucose levels, especially if I don't have to prick my fingers so many times a day, because I know I run high, so it's not great when you get that high results, because you just want it to be green, but it's always red. But yeah, leave the comments down below, and I'm trying to get to you as soon as I can. And thanks so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for updated content.